Welcome to the FanDuel Punch-Out. I'm Jason Gilbo, J Gilbo 11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J Clay. Taking a look at the 15-game slate here, and it's a fun one because there's a lot of bad pitching and a lot of bad ballparks, and you can kind of go a number of ways. Kind of just a question for you to see where you're at as far as cash games go. Are you kind of paying up for any of these top options, or are you kind of looking at like a Kyle Hendricks at 8,500 to get some bats in?
I think it depends. For cash, I like Hamels, man. I know Hendricks is a better value and all that, and he probably is the better cash play, but I feel comfortable with the upside of Hamels. So that's probably the way I'll be going, but Hendricks is the cash probably play for most people.
No, I agree. I think Hamels is kind of my number two option. I kind of debating on between the two just to kind of see where I'm going. I mean, it's going to be one of those things where if I like my lineup with Hamels, I'll stick with it for cash. But if I want a couple extra bats, I might spin off and go Hendricks.
Mm-hmm.
So you can also check out, I mean, we have the pitcher nail down where we talked about some arms, and we talked about both those guys being solid options.
Right, definitely.
So looking at catcher here, and kind of a similar bank up front. You got your Luke Roy, your Ramos, and Posey who are in good spots. But you also have, a Stephen Vogt, Victor Martinez at 3,100 that kind of just sit at that mid-level price. And I don't have a problem with kind of using, really everyone outside of Gaddis. And I think it just kind of goes with either what stack I'm using or, my correlation plays. I think that's how I'm going to play it behind the dish.
Yeah, catcher's weirdly strong tonight, but you luckily don't have to pay up for a lot of the options here. But I mean, you look down the line, it's basically the same thing as DK, Posey, Martinez, Wieters, Vogt, McCann. I mean, you just run down the line. They're all good options. So it's really dependent on roster construction.
Yeah, I think so. And you look at Wellington Castillo, I like these Diamondbacks bats who are actually at a little bit better value here on FanDuel. Going up against Matt Moore, who's allowed a 363 WOBA, 1.4 rate home runs per nine to right-handers. Chase Field, I mean, a great hitter's park, and I think you kind of look at them, and for what it's worth, I mean, those price tags have kind of dipped, which kind of recent production, and I don't mind that. I'm all over it.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Salvador Perez, 2,600, completely different story where he's, priced, 4,800, I believe it was on DK. I mean, completely different story.
Right. Yeah, and obviously you like him in that matchup, so definitely liking that there. And it kind of takes a lot of the cheaper options out of play. Unfortunately and fortunately at the same time.
Yeah, I think so. And moving on to first base, I mean, this is kind of a situation where you have some decisions to make. And I think overall, Anthony Rizzo stands out as my favorite. But I can't knock an Encarnacion. I can't knock a Goldschmidt because come off the DK pod, I liked all three of those guys, and they're all kind of a different price tier, and they kind of fell into different ranges. Here, they're all clumped up together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is expensive, but I mean, I still think we like these guys, and you want to pay up for them. So looking at Encarnacion, Goldschmidt, Rizzo, and even maybe an Ortiz. But yeah, you definitely like that top tier for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned the Matt Moore struggles. You look at Eichhoff, I mean, 358 WOBA to left, he's 1.46 home runs per nine. And, you also look at Matt Boyd, he's allowed a 371 WOBA to right, he's 2.14 home runs per nine. So they're all in really good spots, and I think you can kind of look at that tier in GPPs, kind of use that as a core and kind of rotate around a little bit and hedge off.
Right. Eric Hosmer, not the most expensive guy in the slate. Will Myers back to reasonable 3,500. So, yeah, you got to like those guys there.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's kind of the spot I'm looking at. I don't see myself going down lower than that just because, one, I mean, those bats have been fairly consistent all year, and they're in great spots.
Right.
So, anyone else? Would you dig down to an Adrian Gonzalez at 31?
Yeah, I don't feel good about that. I mean, I know the Dodgers are in a good spot, so I guess for a tournament, if you're throwing him and a Seager out there, sure. But I'm trying to stay up a little further, at least to 3,500.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Looking at second base, and I think if you're paying up, it's kind of an easy call there with Daniel Murphy in that spot against Matt Latos. In a great park, you're looking at Latos hasn't been that great against lefties. Overall, I mean, very playable. And you look at this Nationals offense, a big run total in that ballpark. I'm expecting most of the runs to come from that side because this White Sox team against Joe Ross doesn't really seem appealing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I think when you sort of look at this spot here, you kind of want to pay down, in my opinion. I think you're just looking at some of the options here, and it's like Odor 2,800. I mean, that's beautiful. Segura 2,900. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think in that complete range, I mean, Ben Zobrist 3,300, and I mentioned Eichhoff against lefties. I don't mind Brandon Phillips and kind of the Reds as being a contrarian move on a big 15-game slate to attack Leak. And as you mentioned, I mean, those bats like Segura, we talked about Matt Moore struggling against righties, Odor continuously cheap price just because of the suspension. So I'm with you. I think, once again, this is kind of a spot to easily pay down that. And because the guy's in that range, I don't see a real reason to kind of drop any lower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Zobrist, I really like that call. 3,300 is very nice. Does it take Profar out for you, or is that still in play?
It's in play, I think, a little bit. And I think, kind of looking at tonight's slate, there's a lot of different stacking options and correlation plays that you can go with. So as far as a one-off move, Zobrist is probably my favorite, although I really like Segura as well at 2,900. So I think those two kind of do take Profar out just a little bit, even though he's been pretty solid since stepping in.
Right.
So looking at third base here, and overall, I mean, I think this is a spot where you can pay up for a Josh Donaldson, for a Danny Valencia even. I kind of like Danny Valencia in GPPs against Zach Davies in Miller Park.
I mean, yeah, and he's at a pretty reasonable price compared to DraftKings, so I'd probably have more shares on here than DK. But yeah, gotta like that again. Gotta like the A's, at least as one-offs. Valencia, very strong, 36, solid.
Yeah, and your top guy, you were liking Donaldson, and I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
On FanDuel here, I like Donaldson as well. 4K, I mean, it's a reasonable price tag against a mediocre lefty. So I think Donaldson's kind of a guy to pay up for as well.
Definitely.
If you're looking lower, though, I mean, there are some different options that you can kind of go with if you want to go cheap. Jose Ramirez, I don't mind as a value bet for Cleveland. I mean, Wade Miley hasn't been that strong against right-handed pitching. And you look at the over-under in that game, I mean, the ballpark, yes, it's big, but there's been some runs scored there in the past, and I think you can kind of look and feel pretty comfortable about targeting some of these West Coast games.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we talked about Justin Turner, and I kind of waved it, but at the end of the day, 2,700, not bad.
Yeah.
Hernan Perez, 2,300. I mean, that's a great price for him. So I think when you kind of look at it that way, yeah, it's decent to pay down here. But as I think you go one way or the other. Tough to find middle ground there.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the Perez call, I mean, ISO over 200 against lefties this season, like those Miller bats. So I'm definitely with you there. I think third base is kind of an either or, pay up or pay all the way down, because those middle tiers, I feel like I can get maybe their upside in floor at kind of a cheaper price.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at shortstop, and this is, I mean, on DK, you and I were a little bit different because Machado's third base eligible, and I like Machado quite a bit. But I think here, I mean, I like Villar still over Machado at the shortstop position. Villar has absolutely crushed left-handed pitching. He's been crushing of late. I mean, he's so versatile as far as scoring points. I mean, I could just rave on and on. I mean, I might just buy a Villar jersey after this game for all the points he scored in my life. But
it's like your words are going to turn into your fingers typing in, like looking up jerseys after the pod. It's like you're going to go straight into it. But yeah, you are a Villar guy. I respect that. He's in another great matchup, and I definitely like that for him. So yeah, I'm in on that. But I do like this little tier here: Bogarts, Cozart, Diaz, 3,500, 3,500, 3,300. I think those are three guys in good matchups. So definitely looking at those.
Yeah, I like those calls as well. Diaz is a noticeable difference. He's kind of that tier 2 play for me. if I can't quite nab one of the top options of a Machado or Villar, Diaz is definitely my next best.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I really like that tier, so definitely looking at that hard.
Yeah, and I like quite a few Cardinals bats. What are you doing about Trevor Story here at 3,100 against the lefty? I know you were kind of talking up your eyes as far as an upside cheap guy, but lefty-righty matchup, Story's got decent splits against lefties. Is that price tag worthy for you in a GPP?
Yeah, definitely worthy of a GPP. I mean, we've seen the upside already this year, so he's priced low. Obviously, home road splits for all Rockies are rough, but I think he does have some upside here, so I'm not against that. Again, I think Urias has some tournament upside, some punt upside, but other than that, he's been far from what we wanted him to be. I mean, I wanted him to come in and throw a perfect game his first time out. That did not happen either of his two starts, but yeah. So I think we're going with Story here for sure.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of buying jerseys, I mean, your favorite player in the league is obviously Gregorio Pettit at 2,500.
That'd be a authentic. I'd probably have to get it from the game from him or something to actually get a Pettit jersey,
Oh, they're definitely not selling at the local sports authority
No.
down in LA for sure. Well,
I gotta get unless we can get Andy Pettit and like cross out some of the letters or something like
the
that.
Pettit is spelled completely different.
So
is he a viable punt option for you? I know you've kind of relied on him.
Yes.
And he's kind of delivered.
Yes.
I mentioned Diaz the other day, and you were just like, no, I can't do it today. But Pettit, has Pettit taken over the Diaz love at shortstop for you?
I'm telling you, Diaz has graduated to people actually care now. So Pettit is the next guy that I'm riding here, along with Profar, but people really care about him right now. He was 50% owned in the tournament the other day, so
is
he's
Diaz,
not really mine.
So let's just put this in perspective. Is Diaz? So you guys went to high school together. You planned on going to college, but his grades were far better than yours, so he went off to do better things. He went to MIT. You went to Framingham State.
This is a much different analogy than I was thinking. I was thinking of the proud parent sending his child off to school, but apparently we have two very different perceptions of this event that's going on here.
I just thought maybe
you just let your subconscious roll, Jason, and that leads to all the answers that we need to hear from you. So now we know where you stand, and yeah, I like Gregorio Pettit. So we're gonna move on from Diaz. Yeah.
Fine. Looking at outfield here, and it's kind of a different tier up top. I think these guys are much more reasonably priced on FanDuel. If you're kind of paying down at pitching, like a Mike Trout, a Ryan Braun. Jose Bautista is a little bit different, but still some upside. Is he more of a DK play for you for now, just because of the FanDuel price being really high?
Yeah, kind of more of just a DK play. That's expensive, unfortunately. So obviously still has the upside. And on FanDuel, I mean, a home run is huge. So a little different than DraftKings. So yeah, I do like that upside still, but there are better options for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think, a 1-for-4 night from Bautista with a homer is doable at a price tag much lower.
Right.
So, guys I kind of like spinning down to, I mean, Dexter Fowler at 3,900. We talked about Eichhoff. I like him quite a bit. And Stephen Piscotty, I mean, 3,600. I like these Cardinals bats a lot. I think they're worthy as standoff plays in cash, GPPs, stack, whatever you want to do with them. I feel pretty comfortable using them in all formats.
Definitely. Yeah, again, I like those. Cole Calhoun, 39. I'm okay with that price. Obviously much more expensive on DK, but yeah, I don't know. Whit Merrifield, 3,100. Cameron Maben, 32. I think you just kind of drop down to that level after that,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can kind of look at some of those Kansas City, Baltimore bats. I mean, Adam Jones at 32. It's an over-under of 9 there. Lorenzo Cain at 31. So in that ballpark with that thing, I mean, I talked about Holiday. So that tier that, those 5 that we just mentioned are kind of a nice core if you wanted to build that way and kind of pay up at pitching. and not
Definitely.
completely
And
dive all the way
then,
up.
and then, oh, no more Mazzara at 3K even. Let's do it, folks. I'm in on that. I'm in. That's like, I'm in. I'm in. Done.
Yeah, I mean,
Done.
Keuchel's been horrible against the Rangers. I think you can kind of look at them and kind of know what you're going to get, and I think that's kind of pretty solid numbers at this point.
And can you believe Giancarlo Stanton 2,900? That is some wild stuff.
He's facing a lefty. I mean, it's in Minnesota. I mean, obviously the track record's huge, but 2,900, the risk is starting to get lower and lower with the price.
I know.
Do you take? I'm getting some Stanton shots in there. It's just one of those.
I think you gotta. It's
hell,
different.
Hell is frozen over, my friends. It's frozen over because Stanton's below 3K.
Below 3K. I mean, that's incredible. So at least tournament worthy at this point. I know he struggled, but it's kind of like with Adam Jones earlier this year. You kind of just know he's going to turn it around at some point, you know.
Yeah.
Unless he pulls a Rick Ankiel and switches the pitcher and then like goes crazy or something. But like, I don't know. You know, some like reverse Rick Ankiel. So instead of, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to that point in the night. I mean, it's 9 o'clock. You got to get to bed soon. So moving down, Byron Buxton.
Oh, your boy Byron strikeout Buxton.
He's not. You know what?
Buxton.
Ass. He's not. He's not quite the. He's not bad. Give him a break. All right.
No, he's been good. He has been good. I just like doing that.
2,800's a little more than I like. I mean, he was not quite the punt play that he is on DK or that he was earlier in the series. But you know what? I mean, you look at Conley, he's been up and down, lefty-righty matchup. I think he's playable, but at the price, it's kind of more of a GPP move for me.
Yeah, no, definitely a better value on DraftKings. That's pretty much untouchable. But here, you don't have to, but he is a decent option.
Yeah, I think so. And Brandon Drury, if you need to kind of completely punt 2,300 against the lefty Matt Moore, it's an intriguing option for me. I like these Diamondbacks quite a bit. And as we mentioned, I mean, guys like Segura, Drury, Castillo, not that expensive to kind of wrap around Goldie for a stack. It's doable with the Hamels, and I think you kind of can really heighten upside with that.
Definitely.
So, anyone else you like before we head out here?
I think that's pretty much it for outfield. So, I mean, I like you, Jason. I think you're a good friend. So, other than that,
I appreciate it. I mean, if my FanDuel salary was up, what would it be as far as a friendship rate?
Well, if I had a voodoo doll, I would not stick any pins in it. Let's just say that.
Before we head out, I mean, it's kind of a stackable slate. Who's your favorite stack?
The Cubs.
Oh, that's a bold call.
Yeah,
I'll go with the division rivals, the Cardinals.
Or the Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well, if Keuchel's out there, it's might as well as like me throwing with my left hand at this point in the season. So
I'm glad no one's ever seen me throw with my right hand. I'm a lefty. It's really ugly.
Oh, you're a lefty, huh?
Yep, lefty.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
That's going to wrap things up here with the FanDuel Punch Out. Be sure to check out DailyFantasyCafe.com for all our great tools and content.